So, welcome everyone to the social media clone project. Before we can begin debugging, we have to add in views for leaving and joining groups. We kind of left those views untouched and now we are going to add them in. Let's going to be two class based views and then we are going to connect them to the URLs file inside of the group application. Once we have done that, we should be ready to go for debugging and testing. The reason we have to do this before we actually jump straight into debugging is that we'll get a lot of errors because inside of a lot of our templates we are actually calling groups join and group leave for those actual buttons, and we need some sort of views to at least connect them. Let's go to the editor and finish that up. All right, here we have the views.py file for groups application, and we have create a group, single group, and list groups, and I'm going to create two more class based views, and it's going to be a joint group. I will put pass there for now and leave group, and they are going to look really similar. Just one is going to be for leaving a group and another one is going to be for joining a group. So let's start with join group. First off, to join a group you should be logged in, so we'll have login required mix in, and we are going to use another generic class based view, and that one's going to be a redirect view. So once someone clicks on join, we should do some stuff on the back end of our models to join the actual user to be a group member of that group. And then we are going to redirect it to another page. So what we can do here is say diff, and there is a method we can define called get redirect URL, and that will allow us to grab whatever URL we want to direct them to. So once they join a group, so we'll say self arguments and keyword arguments, and we are just going to return a reverse call. Okay, so in order to use reverse, make sure you scroll up here and actually import it here, and it's right here under your resolvers, and we are good to go. And let me collapse the directory tree and get a little more space here, and we are going to redirect to groups singles so that we will be the detailed view of that particular group. Now I don't want to know what groups we are talking about. We are going to add in a keyword argument dictionary, and it's just going to define slug. So keyword arguments hoops self keyword arguments and get slug, and essentially just get whatever slug of the page or clicking button that you are on the joint group of and that's all you need to do for get redirect URL. So and then what we can do is add in some more checks in case this person is already a member of the group. So we can say the fget, and there will be self request, and that takes an arguments and keyword arguments, and we'll define group as get object. In fact, we are going to need to import this. So will they get object or 404, which either means try to get the group that this person is currently looking at, or return a 404 page. So in order to use this command, we are going to scroll back up, and then we'll say from Django dot shortcuts import get object or 404, and you will also notice there is a get list option, but we are just looking for a single object, so we'll just say group, and then we'll say group is what we want. So that's it. So then we are going to add in a couple more things. We'll say group slug, and slug is going to be equal to self, that keyword arguments, uh, get those slug, and then we are going to try, we'll say group member objects, the create user is equal to self request user, where group is equal to group. All right. So what does that actually mean? I'm going to try to get the group member object and create one where the user is equal to the current user and group is equal to group. So creating a group member, and then I will have an accept, and I can actually accept specific error. So the specific error we are looking for is an integrity error. Although you don't have to technically, you can just say accept. You don't have to write in the error here. So we can say integrity error, and then we will say message warning. And in order to use messages, you are actually going to need to import it. So let's scroll back to the top and say from django.contrib import messages. So these are basically things we can send back to the user. So say uh, from django.contrib import messages, so we can send them a message, and you are already a member of that group. If you are trying to join it again, then you may self request, and then we actually pass in what we want to warn here. So we can say warning already a member. So that will be if they are already a member, we will get some sort of error here. Else, what we are going to say is message success. Uh, okay, so now we'll say self doubt request, and then say as a second what grab. This is not supposed to be an uh, equal sign. Okay, neither is this just supposed to pass in the course itself. And then here we are going to say as a second argument, you are now a member. And so we actually don't need these parentheses here. There is just the second argument. So that should be it for that. And then at the end of all this, we are going to return called super get request arguments and then keyword arguments. And then save that. So what we are doing here is if you are joining a group, we have this get redirect URL from this redirect view that just says, okay, once you join the group, go back to that group's single detail page. And then for this, we want to make sure that a page person is going to receive some sort of error or warning message if they are already inside the group. And a good way to do that is by using Django's built-in messages from Contrib. So using that, you can just try to do what we would do, which is grab a group member object and create it with the user equal to the current user and group equal to group, which we just said get object or create. So that's where groups coming from. So this group right here is linked to this group right here on line 29. And then we can say accept integrity error, and you can just actually say accept. So if there is any sort of error, you can just say, for instance, this that's totally fine as well. Save that, and then we are going to send some warning message says, hey, you are already a member. Otherwise, if it works, we will say you are now a member, and then we are just going to return super get request and then arguments and keyword arguments. Then we are going to fix this for leave group, and it will actually be pretty similar. So for leave group, we are going to again say you should be log in to leave a group, and we will also have a generic redirect view. So once you have a group, you should to redirect it somewhere. So we'll say, in fact, we'll just make it the exact same thing. Once you leave a group, you get redirected to that group's page. You can also make the redirect to the home page if you want it to, or the group list page. But we'll keep things simple. Let's make sure my indentation right there is so pretty much the exact same thing. Once you leave a group, you will be redirected to that group's detail page, and then finally we'll have a get method very similar to the one we just made. So get it's going to be self request arguments, so keyword arguments to make sure that they can't accidentally leave a group if they are not really in it. So we are going to do is first try. So we'll try to get a object. We'll call it membership and set that equal to models group uh, member. There will be objects and I'm going to filter those objects and we'll filter. Let me start this on a new line. User is equal to self dot request user, and then group underscore slug is equal to self dot keyword arguments get slug. So and then of that we are going to just call get method, and we are going to attempt to try to get a membership, and that's of that group member, assuming that the user is already in that group. So grabs the group slug, grab the user of that group member object, and that's going to be my little membership that I am going to playing around with, and then I am going to be accept, and I can say accept models. uh, okay, group member so does not exist, so that's an actual thing. uh, I can call off that group member object. So if that thing doesn't happen to actually exist, it means that group member was never actually a member of that group. So you accidentally click the leave button on a group you were not ever a member of. So say messages warning self dot request. Basically, same thing we were doing last time, and says sorry you are not in this group. So let's say you are not, so don't have to worry about the syntax for single quotes. Okay, so here you are in the group. As we are going to do is, if everything is working, we will say membership, and we can call a delete method of this. And then we are going to say messages and call a success message, and then passing the request self to request, and say you have left the group, and then I'm going to return what super get pass here, and request pass and argument, and then pass and keyword arguments. Okay, so that should be looking good. I'm going to save this, and the next thing I want to do is make sure I actually connect these views to my URLs file. So let's open that up, urls.py inside of groups. So we have a couple more views to do, and we'll come over and we'll add in the leave and join view to the URL API file. So we'll say URL join forward slash, and we'll say we are actually going to just grab and copy and paste this same thing here. Okay, so join, and then we'll say views. So the join group, and call that as a view and give that the name join, since that's what we did in the template. And then the other thing we are going to do is add in the leave. So let me just copy and paste this, since it's almost the same thing. Copy paste, but instead of join it's going to say leave, and instead of join group it will be leave group. And then instead of the name join it will be leave, so we're going to save that. So these are regular patterns, these are URL pattern, maybe not right. So you have to do chat GPT by pasting this code. You can find the correct URLs, and that's it for the join and leave views that we had to create. So again, over in views, there are definitely the more complicated views. That's why we kind of waited till now for joining group and leaving groups. They are really similar. So they are both redirect views, meaning you just kind of define once this person perform this action, where should they go to, and that's the redirect view. And I can actually pass in keyword arguments and grab things of that current request, such as the slug that they are looking at to go to that leave and join group. And basically, what these do is check to see if the user can actually perform the given action. If you don't have these try except else calls, you may just get broken pages if the person was not in the group, and then try to join it and then try to join it again, etc., instead of doing all that. So we can just have these messages show up, and that will help fix any issues. So that's it. So we should now be ready to take care of a few things in settings.py, connect everything and start debugging things. Okay, so thank you for this lecture.